I don't want to paint cityscapes. I'm not interested in a lot of non-nature related things. So it really, it kind of evolves out of the landscape. And that informs me about color. I mean, all the color we want is out there, so it's almost, and that's why a lot of my paintings are about color. I don't want to paint in shades of gray, let's say. But yeah, that's significant. One has to, the woods and nature, the water, rivers, wind, whatever. I mean, that all informs me, for sure. I grew up in a little bit in Pittsburgh, and then we moved to New York City. But it was in Pittsburgh where I went to. My father took us to the Carnegie Mellon Museum, and I was probably 7 years old, and clearly remember seeing they had a small American painting collection, and I was fairly mesmerized as a child by it. I thought it was all a magic trick, actually. And I think that kind of stuck with me, and I think that's why somewhere that seed was planted in me, and I knew that I needed to possibly be a painter. And then when I was a teenager in New York City, it was just a pretty wild place to live, and I could kind of be creative and flourish, I guess, in that way. And then in college, I studied art. And then got out of college, and I didn't paint at all because I hit the wall of having to make a living. And that's how I fell into construction. So I did that for about 7 years. And then I realized I needed to paint again. I needed to find out if I was an artist or not an artist. Because I didn't want to be a person who was constantly saying, oh, I should be an artist or I should be a writer. And so I just took that leap of faith and painted for about 7 to 10 years. And then that kind of fell apart. And it took another 10 years to get back to the studio, but it feels good to be back to the studio. I had another burst of creativity, which I didn't think was, that's not always in one, you might have burnt out, so. I think it's just you have to work hard. I mean, you have to get up in the morning like any job and address the whatever creative thread you've found. And when I first came into the studio a year ago or so, whenever it was, 9 months ago, I didn't know what I was going to find. But I kind of picked up on a thread that I had left off 10 years previously. And then it was like falling down the rabbit hole. And I think people who get lucky find that thread, and if they're looking for the creative vein in themselves, but they do have to draw it out, and they do have to work hard. And like I said, it's just, going back to when I first decided I need to paint again, it's all about that. If you say you're going to do it, then you've got to get up and do it. And that's what I've done. So yeah, the process just continues. Some paintings will provoke another painting to come. And this is the last of the previous series, and those blank canvases are the next series. So this painting is called The Dating Game. But with this painting, I started with these circles in the back to get a pattern going. And then all these other surface images just kind of came to me. There's something to be said about traditional landscapes, and they're decorative. All painting is, in essence, a wall decoration, but there's also like a deeper landscape to look at, and the artist can't figure out the box they're in until somebody tells them, I think. Well, I have a friend who's a stone carver, so I had I did drawings of those stones and 3 paintings actually. So it became a series, and then I had the wild idea if they needed to be turned into a 3-dimensional object. And Malcolm Harlow lives in this county. He's a stone carver who worked in the cathedral. And I asked him if he would carve these things for me, turn them into these objects. And he was game for that. And really, they could be hidden in the bushes, and if somebody finds them 100 years from now, they'll think that they're some ancient religion or something. So it's really, very kid-like, actually. Those are a little bit meant to be a spoof. But they're also meant to be about, the mystery of language and the mystery of antiquities and people discovering things and what do they mean, and people always saying, "What does it mean?" And, you got to sometimes figure that out on your own. So if those go in the show, or if I show those to people, they're always asking, "What do they mean? Do they mean something?" And no, they don't mean anything. It's a made-up language. So it's meant to be a little bit of on the light side. I do what I'm working on right now. Or I don't know if the camera can see that one in the corner, but it's just a series of just panels of colors, what I call them. They're truly just decorations. But the reason I'm painting them is where I'm having this show. Though it's all the paintings can be on the second floor, but when people walk in, this panel of color is going to be there just to hopefully get their eyeballs excited. And so when they go upstairs and they walk into this huge space, because it is a huge space, then they're going to get flooded by all the paintings that have lots of colors and lots of stories going on. Landscape stories, political stories, whatever. That's a political painting. And I rarely do those, but I do have a few. I painted a painting called BP, which I sold this summer to a friend of mine, and that was about last summer's oil spill. And I did a painting that was kind of a reflection on a woman's poem. It was called 29 Men. That was about, and that's what's over there hidden. That was about the mining disaster in West Virginia. And then this painting on Afghanistan came out of May, and that is a reaction to our wasted 10 years in Afghanistan. And I have a painting titled Libya and a few others, but generally I don't do paintings that are directly a political statement. But that does happen to be. So we have priorities that we need to reset. So it seems to be happening. So outside of my studio. The New York Times, it just happens to have pictures of cellular stuff, and so that's just science is going deeper into these things, and artists maybe need to look a little deeper, and that's what it's really all about. Just looking a little deeper. I love traditional landscapes and illustrations, but as a painter, for me, the excitement lies in a deeper level of observation, I guess. You believe in yourself, and you have to determine that and follow that creative voice and reason, and you have to do it. And there may be no money in it, and you can't stop there. You got to just keep going for it. But it's a tough road, so good luck, I guess.